Welcome to the Barrel Buddies. I'm James.
I'm Zach.
And welcome to your weekly news, booze, and reviews podcast.
News, booze, and reviews. Okay, I like that. That is clever.
What do you think of that, Zach?
You are a clever guy for coming up with that.
Well, I'm gonna steal BJ's thunder because he came up with that.
Okay, well, that's very clever of both of you. You're very clever gentlemen.
Friends, look at this. We have the one and only Mr. Zach here joining us for the Barrel Buddies. How's that headset treating you?
It's good. It's a little different.
I know and these are pretty crappy and cheap, but it is what it is.
Yeah, it's kind of cool. Like you can hear yourself. You actually know if you're talking into the mic.
Exactly. That was kind of the point behind it.
So
we're like, oh, how do we sound?
I sound great.
Yeah, how do we sound?
I sound creepy.
You sound pretty good, man.
Very good.
So, BJ, for those that don't know, BJ and his other half are up in the snowy northeast of the United States. Well, actually, no, they're in Canada. I think they're in Nova Scotia.
Nova Scotia.
Prince Edward Sound.
Isn't Nova Scotia kind of weird because of their time zone situation where it's like a half an hour ahead?
Yeah, it's a strange
Eastern time.
Mm-hmm.
So somebody in Nova Scotia was like, the rest of the U.S. or the rest of the continent cuts it off by like hours. We're going to do it by half an hour.
Yeah. And so where he's at, he's actually 4 hours ahead, but they have a really strange time zone where it's called the Newfoundland time zone.
Because it's the Newfoundland.
Go figure.
There's nothing to correlate.
But it looks like Prince Edward Sound is in the Atlantic time zone. He is 4 hours ahead of us.
Oh, so it would be about 11:30-ish?
Yeah, it is. Well, it's 10:47. So
yeah, obviously bad at math.
Almost 11. No, it's almost 11 o'clock. Yeah. So, well, anyway, so
Hi, BJ.
Hi, BJ.
Yeah, can you see us from the boat?
So he is probably watching the show. So fantastic. We have an interesting show tonight. So I was thinking to myself, okay, we're gonna try to get Zach confirmed. So that's part one of figuring out what we're gonna do for the show. And then part two of that was, well, what are we going to drink during the show? And obviously by the title, you guys see that it's Stagg Jr., so there's no surprises there. However, come to find out, I went through our archives, the annals of the Barrel Buddies, so to speak. We have never reviewed Stagg Jr. live.
That is kind of amazing
on the show.
Because I mean, like it's always been around. Like it gets it gets opened very rarely on special occasions.
Yeah, I would say it's definitely a special occasion. We break it out for like birthdays or like a job promotion, new job. The typical.
Yeah.
Enjoy a beverage that's not your daily drinker.
I'm a Stagg fan.
So we wanted to talk about Buffalo Trace and Stagg Jr. As most of you know, or for those new to the show. Oh, look at this, Uncle Punky. How's it going, man? He says, "Good to see you, Zach." Uncle Punky says hi.
What's up, Uncle Punky?
It's been a while. Man. He has been posting. I've saw a lot of your on the Book of Faces, Uncle P. You're posting a lot of like lederhosen. It looks like you're really embracing Oktoberfest.
Yes.
And bravo to you. You're right in like, I can only imagine how the Amish and in Pennsylvania, how some of those communities probably get together. And I just want to go around. Like one day I just want to come out there. I already told this to BJ. We're going to fly out to Lancaster. And well, you probably can't even fly into that. I'm guessing you probably have to fly into Philly and drive or something. Is there
I don't know
international airport in Lancaster?
I don't know how big Lancaster is. I would think probably Philly and then
Philly and drive,
and then either
or
that
puddle
or,
jumper.
Yeah, that or turbo prop it over.
Yeah, exactly. Yep. Yeah. But I just want to like go around and talk to people. I'm sure there's a lot of home brewing and brewing, like I don't want to say under the table because that makes it allude that it's illegal, but I'm talking about like I just want to know what like people are making in their basements. I'm sure there's some people that are making some amazing booze products.
Do Amish folks drink booze? I don't know.
I don't know. I think
Or
Mennonites,
secretly?
I don't think they probably do secretly. So my assumption is they're definitely fermenting probably fruit wines in their basement,
Makes sense.
unless it's against their religion.
Yeah, I'm not 100%.
So Uncle P
knowledgeable.
says Harrisburg, yeah, or PHL. We're just gonna look at Google here
I've
about the
never been.
Amish.
I don't think I've ever been to Pennsylvania, to be honest with you.
So it looks like people are saying yes and no.
Oh,
So it
is
looks
there,
like
like,
they
more?
can.
So more Orthodox do not, and then the last do.
Yeah, it says most like 21st century Amish folk do drink
Oh,
in moderation.
right.
But it looks like if you're Orthodox, I think kind of to your point, they don't. So
This is where you're super duper strict on, and you got to follow the book by the.
well,
T,
and
right?
they're also saying that it depends on like the community or the division of Amish that you're in. So
Oh,
like,
there might be like dry counties or something like that.
yeah.
Huh?
So Uncle Punky says they drink and smoke. So I mean he's there, boots on the ground, so he would know. So
Oh, okay.
Uncle P, that's great because that means when we do come out there, I'm sure we're going to be able to go drive around and just pull up at some corner farmers market fruit stand run by Amish and then be like, hey, where's the good stuff?
That's
And I
gotta
can't
be
wait to see where
amazing.
those conversations lead.
Dude, I did something kind of similar to that when I went to Romania years and years ago.
Hold on,
So-
really quick. You said they smoke, but mostly hams.
Oh, that's awesome.
All right, so tell us about your trip. Where did you go?
So in Romania, went to Romania to go visit an old coworker and friend, and a lot of people in Romania brew rakia, right?
Ooh, what is that?
So it's kind of like a plum wine, I want to say, but it's
exactly what I'm talking about.
it's really good. But basically everyone has their own still in their basement, when you're talking about, kind of doing your own homebrew stuff. So people either create their stills, they build the stills themselves, or they buy them from the gypsies in Romania. And basically every house that you go to has their own rakia, right? And
amazing.
And I had a day where I had to go with my friends' friends to go hand out like wedding invitations, right?
Okay.
And we went to like 20 different houses to all these little gypsy villages, right?
Oh, and I'm sure you're the visitor, so they rolled out the red carpet.
Absolutely. And so like every house that you go to, you get your rakia, right? Yeah. And so I would try the rakia, and this is like this is pretty freaking potent. Like you're talking like 20%.
What is it again? It's like you said, it's like a fermented.
It's like a fermented
fruit wine or something.
It's like a plum wine.
Plum wine.
Yeah,
okay.
it's plum wine, but it almost tastes like vodka. It's interesting.
So to me, something popular in the Midwest, at least in Ohio, where I'm from, a lot of the family and friends make cherry bounce in their basement.
Yeah,
which is basically just like fermented cherries, like a cherry wine.
Dude,
I'm guessing
delicious.
you can interchange that with plums and do the exact same thing as the Romanians do.
Yeah.
But tell us about it. How was the adventure? Did they taste different when you had them at the different houses?
They all had the same. They all had a similar taste to them, but some were stronger than others. And then obviously, like each house that you go to, theirs is the best, right? So they want you,
sure.
they want you to have multiple glasses of it, right? I remember I had a couple glasses at this one house, and the man of the house, the father, came over. I had an empty cup, right?
Yeah.
And this is like, you're not shooting it, like you're sipping it.
I was just gonna ask, like, what is the normal presentation?
So lots of meat, cheese, breads, stuff like that.
Okay.
And so there's a lot to, you're gonna eat enough to absorb the alcohol and everything, so that way you're not falling over when you're walking out. But yeah, I think I went through like 3 or 4 glasses, and the glass was empty right in front of me. And so the guy comes over and he says, motions more, and I'm like, no, I'm good,
No.
And of course he fills it up, and I'm like, I'm not gonna throw it out. So
yeah, it's like hospitality, right? When someone's like, here, drink this, what are you gonna do when you're in their home?
You have to drink it. Yep.
Nothing wrong with that.
So yeah, after like the 20th house, I was feeling pretty good. It was amazing.
So they're all pretty similar though, right? So they're all kind of getting the same plum wine essence. Like there's no huge variations.
No, yeah, not a whole lot of variation, but I mean, yeah, each one it was just slightly different. Some had a little more, alcohol burn to them. Some had less. and then some
Okay.
had more plums, some had more, spices or whatever else goes into the rakia.
Got it. That's really cool, man. And when did you go out there? When was this?
Shoot,
Many
this was
years ago?
probably 15 years ago. This is a long time ago.
Would you say that? Would you go back?
Oh yeah, totally.
That's cool.
But
Okay.
but you have to go back with somebody, like you have to go there with someone that knows the country. Because like
Okay.
there isn't a whole lot of tourists that are going to Romania.
Yeah, that's what I'm like, is there a lot of like a huge tourism appeal to go to Romania?
I was the only person that looked like a tourist. So like whenever we go to like a castle or like a church or something like that, I
Yeah.
was the only person that was taking pictures because everyone else looked like they were there, as like a daily thing.
Got it.
Yeah.
Jackie Black, long time, man. Thanks for joining us on the show. It's been a while, man. I haven't seen you in probably a couple months, dude. How you doing? How you been? Everyone else, let us know. We have some people rolling in here. Let us know what you're drinking tonight. If you're having a beverage, let us know what you're enjoying. And yeah, we're going to get into our Stagg review shortly. So our Stagg Junior review, for those that are just here for the review. We usually do a little bit of bourbon banter before we get to that. And then we'll have a little news story to wrap up the night. Oh, look at that. He's getting them all in order.
It's interesting. I haven't seen this new bottle yet.
That shows. So well, two of those there are a store pick. So let's jump right into Stagg Junior. So I wanted to bring a Buffalo Trace product tonight for us to try. Well, we've had it before, but to drink, because there's a really cool. I'll leave this in your guys' hands how this story will go. But I have a interesting Buffalo Trace story after the review. So for those that are sticking around, or those that are just skipping through waiting for our review, here we go. Okay, so let's jump right in. So Stagg Junior. I'm going to read the bottle for everyone and talk about what batch this is. So first of all, this is an allocated product from Buffalo Trace. Okay, let's get that out of the way. Buffalo Trace. Randy's like, I need a cherry bounce. I'm telling you, brother, I need a cherry bounce too. Like, we're all about cherry bounce. I actually have a wonderful from the Dancing Goat Distillery. They have a beautiful, I believe it's MGP juice, 4 to 6 year MGP juice. No, take that back. It may be 9-year MGP juice that they additionally age in cherry bounce barrels. And it is magnificent. I can't say enough good things about it. So that's really cool. Really good day. Oh, wow, Jackie. So he's been working. Jackie Black's been working nights. He has to wake up at 3:30. Yikes. Ooh. Early morning. Okay. Well, I'm glad you can join us tonight, man. So it's really good to see you. And hopefully that your schedule settles down and you can start catching us live. If not, you know where to find us. We're always there on the YouTubes. So thanks for joining us tonight.
Hey, one thing I was just kind of looking up about the rakia.
What do you got?
When it comes to alcohol content, it's 40 to 50%.
Wow. So that's like, and so my assumption, because I think of like cherry bounce, that you're kind of that cordial level, like 20%. But right. Oh boy, if you're into the 40s and 50s, that's not playing around.
Yeah. So technically,
it's almost moonshine.
Technically, it's a double distilled fruit brandy. So I wasn't super far off of the flavor profile. But the alcohol content, I was seeing quadruple towards the end of the day.
Wow. So Stagg Junior, and everyone's like, oh, Stagg, huh? Your ears kind of perk up because you think of Buffalo Trace Antique Collection, right? BTAC, the Stagg. But this is the Junior, the old Junior version, and I'll get to the Junior going away for those that are, Stagg Junior. But this is actually, so I want to talk a little bit about Stagg Junior first of all. Allocated bourbon. It's released twice a year. So they do a twice a year release. So for like every year, you'll have 2 releases. They are all batch numbered, but not on the bottle. The way you find the batch number is by the proof, because each of these unfiltered barrel proofs all have different proofs, and that's how you get the batch number. So they are currently, as of my last count, they're up to batch 23. Which was released in summer, I guess you would say, of 2023.
How many batches per year?
2.
2.
So you usually have a winter batch and a summer batch is
Ah.
usually that the arrival, and we're coming upon winter here, so we'll probably see a Stagg Junior release here shortly, batch 24.
Winter is
So
coming.
winter is coming. So anyway, this is a Stagg Junior from 2020. So this is the 2020 winter release, which is 131.1 proof. So this is batch 15. I have a boatload. I probably have like, not gloating here, but I probably have like 8 to 10 bottles of this stuff, all different batches. I wanted to find a batch that was relatively recent, like pretty new, because I don't have any of the new batches. So as of 2021, the winter release, they took off the junior. They took off the little junior, and I know you guys can't see it, but under the G on Stagg here, they got rid of the junior, so now they just call it Stagg. Maybe they thought junior was too low level for them, and
Here's a
Stagg. This is the old man Stagg.
This is a
isn't
Stagg.
baby Stagg. That's a store pick. It's a wonderful store pick, and that is a regular Stagg. So we're gonna have a junior.
Have you how do you compare the two when it comes to the antique bottle versus the Stagg Junior? I mean, is the recipe quite a bit different, or no?
It is. It's about age. So that's where you get age. So with George T. Stagg, okay, which is the Buffalo Trace Antique Collection, they only allow single barrels straight out of the barrel, uncut, unfiltered.
Wow.
No less than 15 years.
Holy moly.
Aged no less than 15 years.
So each George T. Stagg could be quite a bit different from another. One batch from to the next could be different.
Absolutely. So now when it comes to Stagg Junior, they don't have an age statement on it. Okay. And I'll read the back. I'll get to that. But it's rumored to be anywhere from barrels could be as young as 5 years old or as old as 10 years.
Wow. Okay.
So basically, this is that middle of the road, that is a step up from their everyday offerings. It packs a punch. I mean, this is 131, and we were talking about a 60%er we're about to drink here, like a huge, ridiculous, proofed bourbon. But then with that George T. Stagg, you are getting a lot more of an aged product. It's still going to pack that punch, but it's aged a lot longer. And you got to remember with those older barrels, you get a lot of that evaporates. A lot of that's given up to the Angels share. And which means they don't produce a lot of it, right? Because you think about a barrel, you're probably getting like 160 to 200 bottles. Not 200, but like around the 160 mark. When you have Angels share of something that old, you could lose up to half the juice in that barrel. So you're getting maybe half the yield. So they got to keep the prices up there. And
they're producing that once a year, right? George T. Stagg.
Right. So the Antique Collection is released around Christmas time, around the Pappy release. Antique Collection comes around at the same time. You have your Sazerac, was it the Saz 18, Eagle Rare 17, the George T. Stagg, what else are we missing?
William LaRue
Weller, and Thomas Handy.
Yep.
Follow. Yeah, I'm trying to make sure that we caught everything. We got everything there.
So can you actually order like the full-on antiques collection from the website?
You cannot, unfortunately. I would say that the Antique Collection bottles are right up there with Pappy. It's a highly, highly allocated. Most run-of-the-mill liquor stores are only getting a case, which you're like, oh shit, a case? It's 3 bottles in a case, my friends.
Yeah. So these are more like
so when your liquor
pieces.
store gloats and they're like, we just got a case of George T. Stagg in. Well, that's 3 bottles, guy. So
yeah, $500 each.
I'm sure he's gonna keep one for his BFF, and then probably 2 for his BFF. So you're not gonna see one. So
yeah, I was gonna say, like, yeah, how often do those actually get out into the wild that are not
$2,000 a piece? Yeah, it's secondary pricing.
Holy shit! I said 500. Holy crap! MSRP, it's normal prices though. What,
129? Yeah, it was like 179 or something really reasonable. And then they just
Yeah, there's
secondary.
no way a liquor store is going to sell it for that.
No, absolutely not. Everybody's is aware. You're not really rolling into a local liquor store anymore and finding a gem on the shelf that is a high value secondary. Most distributors have either told these shop owners, or the shop owners have all gotten a clue by now. Like, guys, I think we're actually over the hump with the bourbon hobby, in my opinion. I think that we've hit peak bourbon probably about a year ago, in my opinion, and I actually think we're on the downswing. And the reason I say that is I pay pretty close attention to a lot of secondary groups like Reddit, online, Discord, Facebook groups, etc., where
Snapchat.
Snapchat. They're huge like sales groups. They're all secondary groups selling stuff, because I just like to kind of see what's being sold and and whatnot. And the trend recently, people are unloading. It's crazy. Like, I would say prices are down on secondary about 20% what they were even a month ago.
Wow.
People are really unloading stuff. And I hate to say, but I think it's kind of like with the state of the economy, right? Like, when the economy's doing well and people are earning money, what do? They spend extra money on frivolous things like booze, right? That's what I would do. But now, I think people are starting to feel the crunch. A lot of that savings and credit limits dwindling and maxing out, and you can't really, pay the piper anymore, so to speak.
Well, maybe
secondary prices. I mean, I've seen some incredible bottles. Like, most of the Weller bottles have all dropped like a brick in pricing.
Yeah, and
it's good for us.
I like Weller.
Wellers, exactly.
Yeah.
I have no complaints against any of them. I know, like, Special Reserve sucks. Whatever. Hey,
whatever. I'll drink it.
We can't get it here in Vegas, so we have a little bit of FOMO. We like to drink it. We're fans. I like 107. 107 is one of my favorite. Full Proof is one of my all-time favorites.
Dude, freaking butter in a glass.
Yeah, and they've caught on too. Like, distilleries have caught on, so they're ramping up production, and they're doubling, tripling, quadrupling, 10 timesing the production. Guys, in the next 4 to 6 years, all that stuff's going to be aged and ready to go. There will be a glut in the market. Good for us whiskey and bourbon drinkers, bad for flippers, which I could care less about, but bad for, for them, but good for us. I think it's a win-win for the consumers and the hobbyists, because that means we're going to finally start be able to get, like, I would love to have Stagg Junior as a daily drinker.
Yeah.
But it is so, like, not really easy to get that,
and it's because of the taters and the flippers. I mean, they hoard this stuff, like you say, like maybe Costco or, Sam's Club, they get a sale on whatever it is. Never seen Stagg there, obviously, but now and again, you'll see like an Eagle Rare or, something wild, and somebody will hoard it all, they'll dump it in their freaking grocery cart, walk around with it, call their friends and say, hey, come on over. I got booze for you.
Right. That's happened. That's why he's told that story.
Yeah.
All right. So let's get to the story on the bottle here. George T. Stagg was born in Kentucky on December 19th, 1835. Okay. Didn't know that. Stagg built the most dominant American distillery of the 19th century on the banks of the Kentucky River during a time known as the Gilded Age of Bourbon. The distillery survived floods, fires, droughts, and even prohibition when it made whiskey for medicinal purposes. Today,
medicinal purposes.
What a joke.
Yeah.
You just
need to get
through
drunk.
Your doctor a 20, and I'm sure he's wrote you a little prescription for some Remus.
Doctor,
which was one of the most famous medicinal whiskey brands that were available at the time during Prohibition.
Doctor, I'm shaking all day long. I don't know.
Doctor, I got the shakes. I got some back pain.
Exactly,
back pain.
Yeah.
Give me some booze. I mean, that's how it works.
Even me out.
So today, Buffalo Trace Distillery strives to carry on the tradition of its famous forefather. Uncut and unfiltered, this robust bourbon whiskey ages for nearly a decade and boasts the bold character that is reminiscent of the man himself. Bravo. Distilled, aged, and bottled by the Buffalo Trace Distillery in Frankfort, Kentucky. This is coming in at 65.55% alcohol by volume, which is 131.1 proof, which makes this batch 15 that was released in the winter of 2020.
What were you doing in the winter of 2020?
Wasn't that COVID?
Went 2020. Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I
was
think
COVID
this
years.
was released during
You
COVID.
were probably drinking like
Was
everybody
probably
else. I'm pretty sure everyone was sitting around drinking because they had nothing else to do.
Yeah, we were all locked down in the house here. So let's get this open.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, we got a nice little. I love the foil. It just has a weight to it. Like, just like a feel that's like a heavy duty. They don't cheapen.
Right. I heard that rip.
You got that rip. You got a rip.
Let her rip.
We got the deer. We got the deer on the bottle here.
Oh yeah. What about the?
Ooh, that was a good pop. Did you guys catch that? And do another one? That probably doesn't count. Okay.
What about the elk?
We're not using the elk today.
No elk pourer.
I don't know if the elk could fit in the bottle. Can it? Oh boy.
Yeah.
Oh,
it fits.
Well, we sorry, old elk and Greg Metz, who is probably like blasphemy. How dare he's like, how dare you put one of my stoppers on a Buffalo Trace product?
That is one of my favorite stoppers. With the whiskey comes out the mouth. I mean, come on,
friends. It really doesn't get much better than that. I mean, look at that. See that? The little deer mouth. Old elk. Old elk has these. I want to try to like capture this in all of its essence on the camera here. Well, is it working?
There it goes.
There it goes. There it goes.
What a pour. What a
yeah,
pour.
but this is taking forever.
That
there we go. There we go.
Well, you have to savor it. You have to enjoy the pour.
All right, we'll leave that there.
That is amazing.
I almost think it's appropriate because Stagg Jr. has the antlers.
Exactly.
And we're getting the antlers. You can't go wrong there. Buffalo Trace marketing opportunity.
Exactly.
People would lose their minds and probably pay $50 a pop for that.
Get a deer head.
No questions asked. Free shipping. Put it on your gift shop website.
Absolutely.
You'll be sold out in a week.
Oh,
I guarantee it.
Dude, I'll buy some.
I only would like $1 from every sale, please. Right. All right, this is already incredible. Like cherry cola nose. Like,
woo, hot boy.
Give you a little cheers here. Slouch of on. Cheers. Oh, Kung Pai. What other cheers are there? Do you know the Romanian cheers? What do you say? Is it Prost? No, that's
Prost. I don't know.
Oh, I figured you had so many opportunities. I figured they would have been like, Nostrovia or Kung Pai.
It's probably like Nostrovia.
Yeah, probably the traditional. Yeah. Okay. Wow, I'm getting on the nose, super ethanol-y.
Yeah,
like it's a hot boy.
Yeah, this is burning, man. I might let it sit for just a minute.
We're gonna let it open up. I'm kind of with you. I think it needs to air out.
Yeah, straight out of the bottle. Yeah, it's gonna blow your nose.
Off. And let's talk about that, right? Like some of these barrel proofs, like people always assume, and I hate to generalize it, but I don't know that people just chase, like they think higher the proof the better.
No, not always.
And I don't know why that's a thing where I'm like, guys.
Yeah, this is like thinking Everclear is great to drink.
Yeah, no.
Neat. It is not.
High ABV and high alcohol percentage doesn't equal good.
Right.
Doesn't always equal good.
Exactly. In this case it does. But
well, we'll get there. But I just like every time I see something posts, it's always like there's some tater. I want the highest proof one you have. And it's like, oh, why?
Yeah, give me a 70%.
Yeah,
like, that's gonna taste like hot freaking gasoline.
Yeah, and like Jack Daniels released Coy Hill, was it a couple of years ago? Their annual release, like the ones that clock in at 70%, people pay like twice as much for versus the ones that are at like 68%.
And
they don't know that the 60% ones probably taste better than the 70s.
Oh yeah.
I would put money on that.
Yeah, the higher the ABV, when it starts getting to that point, like you're just blasting away the freaking taste.
Guys,
the flavor is going to go away.
Doesn't high proof, high alcohol content doesn't equal better flavor.
Right. It's just going to be hotter, and it's going to blow away the taste.
Stagg is kind of my threshold. I think that this, like in the 60s,
this one's 65, right?
I'm a little worried, man.
65.5555.
LJ Cherry Bounce. That's it, man. Cherry Bounce, like so underrated.
Okay,
I
this
want to
is
make
getting
Cherry
better.
Bounce this fall. Now that temperatures have gotten a little bit better here in Vegas. Here we go. Cheers. Let's get into this.
Strovia.
It's a hot nose. It worries me a little bit.
Ooh, hot all around. But still, good caramel. Cherry Coke flavor. I always think of cherry Coke. I always think
Stagg.
cherry Coke when I think of Stagg.
Like it burns, but in a good way.
Yeah, it burns, but then you also it burns into the flavor. You know how sometimes you can have like a super high ethanol taste and it takes away everything, right? And the only thing that you're left with is pretty much like gasoline in your mouth. This burns in a good way. And then the aftertaste keeps you with that like cherry Coke, very very sweet taste.
Cherry Coke, you get like a sweet vanilla, sweet
Oh,
oak,
there you go.
sweet oak, sweet vanilla, cherry cobbler, cherry. Like it's almost medicinal cherry. Like it's think of like a cherry cough, like a cough drop or like cherry cough syrup. Like think of that flavor, but then add booze to it. So you get like a bourbony, like a cherry Robitussin. I know this is a horrible. I want to convey what I'm tasting to the audience, and I'm trying to put it in a frame of reference.
I'm sort of getting more of the like maraschino cherry.
Absolutely,
taste,
maraschino cherry. I think you said it best. Cherry Coke, definitely a cherry cola, cherry Coke, half liter of cola. Yeah, I know why he says liter now.
Huh.
Because
they
were in Canada. He was in Canada. So they're not going to order. I don't want a large. He doesn't want a large. Farva didn't want a large.
He wants a liter.
He wanted a liter of cola because he's from Canada, and that's totally expected.
Do they all say liter?
No.
Like
I don't think
I'll take a double liter, going to like a double big gulp.
Tim Hortons and asking for a liter of coffee.
What about a liter of maple syrup? Yeah, on my pancakes.
Probably.
On my flapjacks.
I'm not from the snowy north, so I can't talk to it.
Me neither.
Much.
I'm from Colorado. Yeah.
Well, that's kind of a snowy north.
If
you're south of Colorado,
right? Not that far north. Yeah.
So let's get into this. So as you guys know, we have a rating system where we rate off of nose, taste, and value. So we use a 3-tier system. Each of those categories, we usually rate it out of like a 0 to 3. We used to rate off a 9-point scoring system with a 1 point reserved for a blown away bonus, but we have gotten away from that. And we are now at a 100-point scale. So we just basically added a 0 to our original ratings. And we made it to where you can like have a bit more flexibility in like 0.5s of stuff, because we were running into like after like 30 reviews where they were all kind of falling in line the same. So since we made it out of 100, the scale now, we have a lot more variation for the better. So nose, taste, and value. I want to talk about value a little bit. So this is a $70 bottle MSRP. Let that sit in. Like, it's pretty incredible, actually.
Yeah, right on par with what is it? Elijah Craig's foolproof or barrel proof.
Yeah, I would say it's right around that $80 to $90 price point. It really depends on where you go.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I would say that I don't think you're going to have a good chance of finding this on the shelf.
I haven't seen it in the open, and I don't even know how long. I think one time, before like the bourbon rage and FOMO that's been going on for the last 7
5
or 8 years,
Yeah.
whatever it was.
Yeah.
I think I saw this on the shelf at like a Total Wine and was like, what the hell is a Stagg? And just thinking about it,
Kicking yourself.
Yeah, that and like I would think of like I'd see like a Hendrix. Or not,
yeah.
is it Hendrix? No, Hendrix is the gin. I'm thinking of
I'm
the.
thinking.
It's the same. It's super similar to God, I'm trying to think here.
Think about it. Think
I'll,
about it. Think
I'll,
about
I'll
it.
dwell on it. You talk.
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
dwell.
So you dwell. And I mean, I think for availability and price, $70 to $80 MSRP, I'm all about it. I would consider this a daily drinker. Like a couple years ago, you could find this on the shelf. Like it was there. Yeah, it was only released twice a year, but it didn't have the hype as it has now. I mean, sometime last year, I saw most of these bottles being resold on the secondary market for upwards of like $200 to $400, depending on the batch.
That's insane.
Where
for a $70 bottle.
I know, but my question to you, Zach,
but the availability, sometimes you need it.
say you saw this tomorrow at your local liquor store. I'm not going to name names, and it was $1.99. Would you buy it?
$200?
Would you buy it?
No.
What price would you buy it at? No questions asked.
Okay, so MSRP $70.
Yes.
I would go. I'd encroach on $100. I'd stop at $100.
You have a lot more restraint than I do, sir. I applaud you. I think I would pay $200 for this. I wouldn't pay more. I would not pay more. But if I saw this and somebody was selling it for $1.99, I would hesitate. I think that's kind of my breaking point. But I really like it. I would scoop it up at $200. I wouldn't tell. I wouldn't tell the other half.
Yeah.
But
you're like, oh yeah,
I don't know. Just pick that up. Pick it up at the liquor store, honey. It's just whatever.
Yeah, don't worry about it. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good.
It's good.
So okay, so I thought of the bourbon.
Oh, what was
I can't remember the name of it, but it's right on par with Blanton's. And it started with an H.
Like the grenade. Oh, Hancock's.
Hancock's. Yeah.
Instead of Googling, just ask me. I would tell you what it is.
Well, like I was trying to think of what to compare it to, and I was like, yeah, it's the cheaper.
You ready for this? We reviewed Hancock's last week.
Really?
It was fucking terrible.
Really? Really? Hancock's?
It was terrible.
Dude, I've loved Hancock's back in the day.
So we call it the poor man's Blanton's.
Yeah, because I remember seeing it for like $30 back in the day. And like,
you ready for this?
Can't buy it.
90. Total Wine had the nerve, the audacity to sell Hancock's, which is Blanton's Seconds.
Yeah.
Which Blanton's alone should be a $60 bottle, and it's $150 now at most places.
To be. Yeah.
And Hancock's is now going for like $90.
That is insane.
Sad. It's really sad.
Wait, was it up front on the special table?
Always. Zach. It makes me so angry.
That drives me nuts.
There's probably some behind you on like the fourth shelf down to your right.
Little Hancock's.
We can have some after the show, and we can reaffirm my opinion of it, which I would like you to try it again because I'm sure you probably haven't had it in a while.
Probably not.
And I think that your palate has changed drastically since you probably last had it.
Yeah.
So we will try it.
All right, we can
because
do that.
I the last time I had it was at the Fun House. So BJ and I talked about it. We think that the last time, besides last week, that we had Hancock's was like 2017.
I would venture to say, you're right. Yeah.
3, 4, 5 years ago.
Yeah.
3 to 5 years ago. Our palates have completely changed since then. I would say, I mean, obviously the show and obviously just our experience in general as human beings. We've had a lot. We all drink a lot here. So we experience a lot. And I think once you try it, you're going to fall in line. And after the news story, if we want to do a little, maybe we'll do a little Barrel Buddies after.
But that's insane, though. $90.
We'll have a little after show here if anybody wants to stick around. So hey, let's jump into our review. I'm sorry, guys, we're kind of all over the place here. So nose, taste, and value, 3-point scoring system.
It's getting better now.
It is getting better as it warmed up. Cherry cola. I'm gonna start with my rating, Zach. So I'm gonna jump right into the nose. Nose for me, that's the only.
You gotta wait for the ethanol to
like dissipate. It's hot. That's the problem. Like
it'll dissipate after a while, but like right out of the bottle,
I'm giving it a solid 2. And I know that's kind of like a 2. I'm giving it a 2 because where it has a pleasant cherry cola, vanilla nose, sweet, caramely, creme brulee-ish burnt sugar nose, it's backed up by a huge ethanol punch, a huge alcoholic punch, which where it's not super astringent, but it's pretty close to just opening up like a bottle of isopropyl alcohol and like getting a whiff of it where you're like, ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. Your
Where
nose goes
like,
back here.
yeah,
You're like,
where this I get a combination of the two where I'm like, ooh, I like the like caramely bakery, bakery. I'm all in. But then you get a little bit of ethanol where you're like, ooh. So I'm gonna give it a 2 because it's a hot boy, which is fine. Nothing against the high proof. It's a 2. Moving on to taste. Oh boy, when this opens up and develops, this is magnificent. This really is in a league of its own. I think the only Weller Full Proof, Elijah Craig Barrel Proof, Stagg Jr. all kind of sit in the same area, the same realm for me. I love all 3 of those. I think they're all somewhat similar, not so much the Elijah Craig. And I love that like baked goods, pastry like taste. And what I mean by that is like a sugary, pillowy, sweet caramel, cherry soda, cherry sundae flavor, but there is an underlying heat and it's very prominent. And I would say this much, if you're not a seasoned drinker, which basically if you have less, say if you, I would consider you a seasoned drinker if you drink more than 2 to 3 nights a week. And there's no offense to this statement, but I think if you're drinking on that level, which is kind of like our level, your palate gets used to things. If you don't drink as much as we do, this is going to come across, I think, as a heavy hitter, which it may be too much for your palate. And there's nothing wrong with that, but it is going to punch you right in the palate.
well, some people they've never had barrel proof before. Like
Yes,
a
right.
regular like a like a 90 proof whiskey is your normal like range.
Yeah, 45%.
Yeah, that's what most whiskeys are going to come up.
And this is 50% almost stronger than that. Like this
Yeah.
is like insane.
Yeah, this is quite a bit.
When you quantify
quite a
it,
bit more
right?
intense. I mean, shoot, like some people can't even stomach something like this. This might like turn into a throw up fest for some people.
Absolutely. Like
Yeah.
and I would never overindulge in something like this. Like
Yeah, this is like
start with
one,
this.
yeah, 1 or 2, and yeah,
1 or 2
finish
and
off
you
with something
need
else.
to call it. That
Yeah.
is too much after 1 or 2.
Yeah.
To each his own. With that being said, like that's a disclaimer or a little disclaimer. Whatever you want to do, everyone has their own palate, taste buds, opinion. Again, at the end of the day, you're putting that into your body. It's a food product. I consider this a food. So many people get offended by that. I'm like, no. And why I classify it as a food product, it's going into your body. It's going through your palate, which means everybody's going to have their own unique opinion on it, right? Everyone, like, don't get offended by that because some people get so bent out of shape over whiskey and bourbon. I'm like, guys, this is food you're talking about here. Like, don't over analyze it. Don't overspend money on it. Like this, we are on the downturn, the downswing of the bourbon market. Obviously, the economy isn't great. I don't want to talk politics on the show, but the writing's on the wall. Things aren't getting any better right now.
I'm really hoping like people will get back into like PBR and like some of the shitty beers that used to cost like $2 each, and then they got up to like $6 each, and then people moved into like whiskey,
Yes.
and it just completely blew up.
I know.
Right, to the point where people were just or they still are not as much anymore, but they're hoarding it. They see it, they buy it, they
Right.
don't drink it, they
Yeah.
don't share it, they don't do anything.
Or
with
you're
it.
Joe fuck off that goes in there and you're like, oh, I could take this home and ship it and make $22 per bottle. Shopkeep. I will buy all of your rare character bullshit. And you're just like, really, guy?
Yeah, exactly.
For your whopping, like, is that your life? That
Yeah.
you're a secondary flipper and you make your daily wage off selling a bottle to some sucker in nowhere for a $20 bill,
And screw
you're
everybody
part
else.
of the problem.
Yeah, screw everybody else. Why not be
Please,
considerate?
flippers, if you want to defend that, go right ahead. I don't think there's any defending that. And they're like, oh, supply and demand capitalism. Okay, well, shame on you because you've caused the problem.
Yeah, exactly. And
but then they're like, well, these suckers pay for it. I'm like, I've talked to these flippers, like some of the biggest flippers on like the West Coast, and like they all have the same fucking attitude. Pardon my French, but it's like, get over yourselves. Like, you're the problem.
And plus you're sending it and selling it illegally too. You know?
Yeah, exactly. Like, people don't understand, like, a secondary flipper is you are illegally selling alcohol.
Yeah.
You can be like there is a federal division, alcohol, tobacco, and firearms, that can come after you for that. Just saying.
And creating like, you know, a lot of angst within the community.
It's such angst in the community. Like, there's a huge, and I think we fall in this category. Absolutely. We're all about sharing, making new friends. Like, I can't tell you how excited I get when BJ's like, hey, let's have an event, or you're like, hey, let's do an event or something, right? Where we all get together, and I just think to myself, okay, in my head, I'm thinking, what can I bring? What can I share with people? What's new? What's something that other people can't get a hold of that I want to be a spokesperson for, like Blue Note. I just carry these bottles all around Vegas, and I want everybody to try them because I love the brand. I love the story behind it.
Great.
Is it like mind-blowing and amazing? Some people would probably say no. I think it is.
I think it's awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. And I want you're introducing new people to new stuff. And I think that's what the community should be about. Not how many, I can make $8 if I flip this on my group when I get home on Facebook. Oh God. But hopefully I don't get zucked. And hopefully I have to type all cryptically in the chat, and I have to put a period in my Venmo payment to my guy because I can't get banned for that. It's just like, really?
God,
is it worth the effort? No,
not at all.
It's really not.
Yeah.
Plus, you're just a scumbag. Then you have the reputation of being a flipper, which is not like something to tout to your friends. I'm not going to go sit with some friends and say, they're like, hey, so what do you do for a living? Oh, I buy MSRP bourbon. Okay. I get this story, get to this cool thing that I do. This is my career. Then I take those bottles. Okay. I go on a Facebook group of random people. This is respected though. This is respected. I find the baseline price, which is usually 3 to 4 or 5, 10 times the price. And I just post it and take a picture and sell it on a Facebook group or a Discord group or a Reddit group. And I'm like, well, thanks. You're part of the problem why us Joe Schmoes can't have a daily drinker and share with our friends a bottle. Yeah. Because you go in there and buy a case of E.H. Taylor straight rye for some poor Jamoke in Northtown, and you're like,
or even like Blanton's.
I can make $60 if I sell all 12 bottles. Guy, do you understand that you're putting in hours of effort, labels, time, and money? It's wasted.
Even like Blanton's, man. I mean,
sorry. Pull it back. If BJ was here, he'd be like, pull it back. I mean, but you're right about Blanton's.
But I mean, back in the day, I remember Blanton's. Being $60-$70. And I remember when I was hanging out with Ryan in DC, a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
We went to his like ABC liquor store or whatever it was.
Yep.
They're all state run in Virginia.
They are. Yeah.
And I'm looking around, and because like you're so close to Kentucky, you're thinking
you're right there. You probably can get some good stuff.
Yeah, you would think, but no. Okay, so like I look around and like I'm not finding my Blanton's. I was like, they have to have something here.
Okay.
And so I go to the front register, right? And
you pulled the classic. You got any Blanton's?
Yeah,
oh no.
Yeah, exactly. Like the new, but I was like, I'm out of ideas. I have no idea what to do.
Exactly.
And so the guy's like, yeah, we have them for $250 each, and I was like, fuck you, really? This is insane. I was like, that is, and I'm thinking in my mind, this is insane. I'm not telling the shopkeep that because he already knows he can get that much. He knows,
for it. And there's people that have gone in there and spent that much money.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing people don't understand. As a community, we have the power to stop this shit. We can prevent this from happening but people don't know any better.
Right.
And they spend the money anyway.
Yeah. Oh,
because
yeah,
they
I've
want
heard
to,
of
they want to
before.
be that guy in their little group that is like, guess what I got, guys? Guess what I scooped up?
Yeah.
A bottle of blends. And they're not going to say they spent $200 on it from some clown across the country.
No, of course not.
No.
Or even like walking into like a, your local liquor store that has those dusties sitting in the very
dusties
top.
on the top with no
Yeah,
price, and you
yeah,
gotta ask, and
yeah,
then they laugh when you ask the price. Like,
Yeah.
what's the point then, guy?
Yeah, exactly. Do you really want to sell that, or you just kind of want to pretty much gouge somebody and hope someone's going to spend that much money for a bottle of whatever. It is. Yeah.
So let's bring it back full circle now that we've ranted about secondary sales, which I'm sure will cause some sensitivity and ruffle some feathers, but I could care less.
Whatever.
Taste. I want to get to my review. Taste gets a 3.
Solid.
I'm going to take the wonderful the mouth here, and I'm gonna double up here because I pounded it.
You got to make the sound.
There we go. That's great.
A little extra.
Yeah. Taste gets a 3 for me. Again, it hits all the marks. You know me, I'm Mr. Pastry Boy, so give me like a macerated donut and a bottle of whiskey, and I'll drink it or French press it. To my beer friends out there, and I would. I'm just thinking of French pressing. So we've done that before, like Krispy Kremes and stouts, but all for good fun. Science. The more you know. This is just that pastry baking. Like, guys, this isn't. First of all, I want to say this. Amberana has never touched this. Okay, it isn't faux, fake, artificial insemination of baking spices.
Amberana
by Amberana Staves, which if you really look into that, you're basically putting a tea bag into your whiskey. Who wants that? Nobody.
What whiskey uses Amberana Staves?
There's a lot, Zach.
Interesting. This is kind of news to me.
All right, so in Brazil, there's a wood, Amberana,
okay,
which they use for like I don't know how, like, exactly how they use it, if it's for teas or something, but this wood has been known to give off amazing, like, a baking spices essence when like a booze is introduced to Amberana. So what you can do is take really subpar, crappy whiskey and age it, or add Amberana staves, or put it in some type of Amberana barrel, and it will pick up all of that amazing baking spice. But it's kind of bastardized because it's like a fake introduction. Like you're injecting baking spices into bad whiskey to try to basically take that sour tannin, astringency, and you mellow that out. Because most of these non-distilling producers buy juice. You're not getting the top of the line juice from a MGP. Like, these guys have already caught on. They're not selling these non-distilling producers the best of the best.
Yeah, because they know they can make the money themselves.
No,
right?
They're sold the like Kirkland brand runoff that would get dumped in the trash if they couldn't unload it to someone anyway. So then what they do is they take this over tanniny, crappy 2 to 4 year junk, and then they put it in a Amberana barrel, and it's like, boom, 6 months later, you're like, oh.
Interesting. Huh, I did not know that.
Well, I love that I am teaching you something new today.
Okay.
So what this means is that anytime you're in a shop and you see something that says aged in Amberana, you can now think twice before you buy the bottle. That's all I want to say. Exactly. It could taste good. Hey, that's fine. If that's your thing and you're like, oh, you have no idea, it tastes great, I'm going to show you some Amberana. Please do.
But here's the
Please
thing.
do.
Here's the thing, though. It could taste good, right?
Yeah.
But think of like shit alcohol back in the day, back in your younger days. It's going to make you feel like hell.
Exactly.
Right? And it's going to make you feel like hell later on that night and in the morning. So why drink, why drink the fake stuff?
Just get into the chat, and you're absolutely right. I'm with you, Zach, 100%. Hank McGurk. Hank, I haven't seen in a while, bud. Thanks for joining the show. And you got me and Zach tonight. BJ's out in Nova Scotia, in Prince Edward Island. That's not how they talk. I don't know how they talk. I don't know where that came from. I am so sorry.
I know there's a lot of like A's going on, but I'm not sure in Nova Scotia. Me, you know, it's kind of
Anyways,
weird.
he's in the PEI, so he's
You,
up there.
dude, you know, it's kind of what's kind of funny is like
Yeah.
people from Maine,
Yes.
they have their own accent.
Oh, absolutely.
And so I can imagine the
Up in
further
Portland.
east that
Oh,
you're
when I was
going,
up there in Portland, Maine, having
it,
some lobster rolls. Oh
it's
yeah.
such a bizarre thing. You're like you hear somebody speak and you're like, I've never heard that before. I've heard New York, I've heard Boston, I've heard, you know,
You get that kind of like
Chicago.
that Concord, Martha's Vineyard. Like you get a little bit of a combination.
Yeah.
Of the whole region.
But
in Maine. It's their unique own.
Super distinct though.
Yeah.
You know, and like if you haven't heard like a true Mainer talk.
Right.
know.
Hey, so Hank, he missed a show. He's recovering from a cold. Well, I hope it wasn't the vid, man. I hear that's going around, but he's lucky enough to catch us tonight. Hey man, thanks for signing in, man, and just watching the show.
Good to
It
see you,
matters.
Hank.
Every person, man. At this point, we'll take one person watching the show, but we appreciate you getting the time, spending the time, taking the time out of your day to join us tonight. And my apologies. So for those that are rewatching this or watching the like just going to YouTube and searching for this review, my apologies because we have not wrapped up our review. So I'm going to bring us back full circle, Zach, and then I'm going to have you blast through your rating. So value. So I was fortunate enough to grab these at MSRP. All of my Stagg Juniors are MSRP or from friends at retail, thankfully.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I'm just fortunate. I've had friends that go out there and go to the hunt, so to speak. They're hunting through their liquor stores, and they'll text me and say, "Hey, do you want one?" I'm like, "You're a champ."
Yeah,
like,
of course.
This is what I think the community is all about, and that's what I just love in that. And for even anybody to even message me and say that, I truly appreciate that friendship. So for those people out there that have helped us get these bottles, we thank you very much. Hank said, Hank is close to our good friend that moved down to Florida. That's all I'm going to say. But Zach knows who I'm talking about. We talked about that earlier. A friend that moved down to Florida.
Oh, okay.
So that is awesome, Hank. So we need to follow up with him because I would like to get him. I told this to Beej. I want to get him back on the show. We'll do a remote show where we just get him like a picture in picture on FaceTime.
Sweet.
So we're going to get that planned. We haven't had him on in ages. And I'm actually going to, my plan is, and I don't care when we talk about it on the show, I'm going to send him a couple of like samples of stuff we'll drink on the show. So then he can drink them with us on the show. So that's what I'll do. More to follow on that. I'll reach out. Good to have you. Tequila is the thing, man. It's funny you mentioned tequila. I think tequila is peaking. The past couple of years, tequila has really stepped it up, especially on the West Coast. And I think we especially see it here on the West Coast. We're in the Southwest because I think our proximity to, obviously Mexico. But I think that like we just have a very rich kind of that outreach. Like we have a huge like kind of Hispanic community and following here on the Southwest and the West Coast that like tequila. You go to like some parties and it's like tequila, tequila, tequila. I'm all about it and I love it. And I don't think like because I know really nothing about it. I grew up drinking Cuervo, so it's like and Patron. And I thought Patron was like the best of the best.
Yeah.
And now I'm starting to like dip my feet into like Fortaleza and
Casamigos
and
Añejo.
Solid. Yeah. And I know to the tequila connoisseur, this isn't like, oh, how dare they say those bottles. But I would say we're speaking from like an amateur level here. Of
pretty
like,
much, yeah.
You go from like Patron and Cuervo to Casamigos, I think is a huge step up, right?
Oh, so, yeah. Well, especially Cuervo Gold.
Yeah,
Cuervo Gold is like the, that's the tequila you're going to get in a Chili's margarita.
Yeah, but we've had like, I've had some like Tears of Llorona. I've had, Fortaleza, some of the crazy lotes, some like Batch 42, some of the old stuff. Like I could get my like G4. I've gotten my way around tequila. I can get around tequila. And you too, especially. It's good. Yeah. It's good. I mean, I appreciate that it's like on the come up, and that's really cool.
Ooh, the Don Julio 42.
Yeah, that's Don Julio 42. Rum is back on the come up, which I love to hear because I'm a huge rum fan. And it's good to hear, and then this is it seems like every 5 to 10 years a booze kind of goes in and out.
Yeah, like that Bacardi Silver. Yeah, pretty good, huh?
Right.
Gasoline in your mouth.
So a couple things here. Let me just get to my review because everyone's like, come on, Jimmy, what are you doing?
So 2 on the nose.
I gave it a 2 on the nose, a
Trace.
3 on the taste. On the value, since I was able to score these at MSRP, I give it a 3.
100%.
So that gives it an 8. I am giving it a blown away bonus, and that puts me at a 9. I'm giving it a 90. I'm actually going to give it a 90, a flat 90.
Flat 90.
It's probably one of Jimmy's. It's one of my high scores that I give to a bourbon. As you know, I always take a big old dump on most of these reviews that we do.
Right.
But this is one of my favorites. And I think that you could sit down, and with it being such a high alcohol percentage, you could sit down with like a really heavy duty, like cigar, like a Punch, Rocky Patel, like a really kind of like meaty cigar, and still cut through all the flavors with this.
I would like to pair a cigar with this.
Yes, absolutely. So Zach, before we get into your rating, I just want to get to the chat. Safi, it's so good to see you. Thanks for joining us. I know we're a little well, actually, we've gone long on the show, but we started a little early tonight. Also, Top Feed Coco, it's great to see you, man. It's been a while. I haven't seen you as well. Hank was saying Mount Gay Eclipse. I'll have to be on the lookout of that. I love
Mount
the
Gay
rum. The rum. Yeah. He says Appleton gives him an angry buzz. So I'm with you there. I'm going to say Appleton.
Whenever I go to Jamaica and I get that Appleton.
Zach, do you have a Casamigos preference, Reposado or Añejo?
Añejo.
Okay. Yeah. All right. There we go.
Yeah, because there's what the Reposado. Wait. Actually, yeah. No, Añejo. Yeah.
I don't know what you're trying to spell. What are you trying to spell, man? Oh, Casamigos. Yeah, that's how it was made. Mm-hmm. So I'm just going back to the chat here. So I just kind of scrolling.
That means
by.
The House of Friends.
Do you know that? So that was one of the co-founders was George Clooney.
Yeah. And it's his tequila. Yeah.
And after a couple of years, he sold it off and made $1 billion.
That's insane.
Selling off that brand.
Dude,
can you believe that?
Dude, what about the
what do you even do with obviously
what about Los Hombres? Or no, wait, is it not Los Hombres? The Breaking Bad guys.
Yeah.
Los Hermanos.
Los Hermanos. Yeah, that's it too. Yeah,
dude, almost like it's a play off of the show from
Dos Hombres.
Dos Hombres.
Aaron Paul.
Yeah,
and Bryan Cranston. Yeah, Dos Hombres.
Yeah, I've seen kind of announcements from those guys.
Well, and they were around. Yeah, and they've been popping around Vegas, really pitching this.
Mm-hmm.
Their website and then this whole video and everything. Well, we're not getting that.
Yeah, I was going to go check them out, like for one of their signings. Just didn't make it, but man, if they come out again, I'd like to go see them.
Safi, I'm with you. Jamaican rum is fantastic, but also Guyana rum is magical, and Barbados, and anything out of the Caribbean, you're getting some delightful rum in South America.
Man, I'm from Barbados. Panama. Check out my rum.
Yeah. So Zach, right? The floor is yours. Nose taste value. I'm going to have you give us your bing bang boom.
So what's wild about Stagg Jr. is right out of the gate, you get that ethanol punch when it comes to the nose. But if you let it
it's a heavy hitter.
If you let it sit there for a good 20 minutes, that ethanol actually starts to dissipate.
It does.
Which is interesting. And
it doesn't go away. It's still there.
It's still there. It's still there. Either my nostrils are getting used to the ethanol, or
I think our senses have gotten dulled and numbed.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
We've had one.
You're like, oh, you've had a lot of a couple of Staggs will numb the senses.
I'll be honest, I'm already feeling it. We've had 2 and I'm like, whoa.
But
nose taste value.
But after kind of letting this sit around, you can't beat the nose on this guy. It's vanilla, it's sweet, it's caramel. Right now I'm fighting through I've gotten past the ethanol, right?
Okay.
And so I'm going to give it a 2.5. The half point is because of the remaining ethanol. And you can't do anything about it. It's a heavy hitter. It's a hot boy.
It is. It's a hot boy.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
It's one of those things.
This is what it is.
Exactly. And like we were talking earlier, it's not for a beginner.
It's not.
You give this to...
Do not give this to a friend or someone. Now, what I mean by that is don't give it... This is not an intro to whiskey bottle.
Not at all. No. Yeah, because this is something that somebody's gonna drink,
This is a
and they will.
seasoned veteran bottle.
Yeah, like your novice drinker is going to drink this and then spit it out.
Don't do
get
this,
sick.
friends. If you can get this, you need to understand, you need to have an expectation. It's a heavy hitter, it's a thick boy, it's a rich boy.
Ooh, it's meaty too.
Yeah, it is. It is, it's 65% here, friends. Like, this is nothing to scoff at. Like, I would not, do not, if you have friends, hey guys, I got a bottle of Stagg Junior and you're all beer drinkers, try this. You're probably most likely not going to get good feedback.
No, they're all going to say it tastes like fire.
Yeah, it's too hot. I think we've done this, Zach. I think we've had some house parties where like we've passed this around to some family and they're like, "What did you just give us?"
No, I've
we're used to it, right?
I've had a couple of friends throwing up from not this, but Elijah Craig Barrel Proof.
Ooh, prime example.
Yeah,
60+%.
Yeah, because they'll drink it like it's regular Elijah Craig, which it is not.
And it's not.
It's like double the strength.
So taste and value and total score.
Taste. I will give it a 3 because I love it. It's got vanilla. Tastes like cherry Coke.
Yeah.
I can handle the heat. I enjoy it.
Packs a punch.
Super meaty too. It's one of those things. It's a whiskey that you can chew through.
So talk value for us.
Value, when you're talking MSRP, 100% a 3.
No brainer.
It's a 3, absolutely. But to pay $200 for it,
it's tough.
Yeah, that's a tough decision. If you haven't had it in a while and you really are freaking craving it, yeah, sure, I guess go for it. But at MSRP, it's a 100% a 3.
Yeah.
So that'll give. And
even what do you think? So you think even at like 100, if you saw us for $100,
at 100, yes, I would.
Yeah.
Yep.
Same, no question.
Exactly, just because of the rarity of it.
Yeah.
You can't find it anywhere.
Right, and even the low 100s, like I'm comfortable all the way up to $200 on this. I know you have some reservations, but even at like, say it was like 129, if we walked into the store tomorrow and you saw it for 129, would you buy it?
129, yes.
See, what if it was 149?
149.
149. Do you have a Stagg right now?
I do not.
And let's say we went to Lee's right after the show and you see it behind the glass for 149. Would you scoop it up?
$150. $150. That would be the top, I think.
But you probably would.
I think that's where I would stop.
It's kind of the stopping point.
It's funny how I started with $100 and then we start drinking it, and then I'm like, you know what? I actually really like this more than I remembered that I liked it.
Yeah. I'm with you, Hank. Hank is like, nothing's worse than a Southern Comfort hangover.
Oh, jeez. Oh, SoCo in a glass.
SoCo
tastes pretty good at the moment, I guess.
Back in my very, very limited club day run, like this is probably 20 years ago, I would do SoCo and Dr. Pepper. I hate to say it. I was also doing I was doing Incredible Hulks at the club, thinking it was cool because it was a blue drink glowing under the lights of the club.
Lots of people
fist bumping. Incredible Hulks. You're like, I got a green drink. It's the coolest thing ever. And it's like Hypnotic and Hennessy and Grey Goose or whatever. And then
all the sugar makes you feel like dog shit.
And then SoCo, and then you're not drinking water. Your water is Red Bull, and that's what you drink the whole night long.
Yeah, exactly. You get drunk, you go down, and then you Red Bull it, and then whoop, go back up. What was the
Vegas club nights in mid 2000s, guys?
what is the cheap SoCo? What is that called? Slow and low?
Maybe. Sophie remembers Incredible Hulks.
Slow and low? I think it's slow and low or something like that. It's like a
slow. I think I know what you're talking about. It's like the poor man's SoCo. It's like which is surprising.
It's a bad Southern Comfort. And that's.
Well, let's see what Google has to say. Yeah.
Like slow and low. Look up slow and low.
Yeah, no. Do like SoCo. We're gonna do like a
Southern Comfort.
Let's see. Southern. There it is. SoCo. Substitutes. The bartenders talk about substitutes.
Okay.
For SoCo. So
here we go.
They say The substitutes for Southern Comfort is what? Knob Creek is not a.
That it does not make any sense.
Okay, this is a bullshit. Never mind. This
Yeah,
was bad.
my bartender. Yeah, that didn't make
Yeah,
any
sorry,
sense at
my
all.
bartender. You're talking out your ass here.
Right. Wild Turkey Maker's Mark.
No.
Old Smoky Moonshine? What? Yeah.
Anyways, I can't find it. That's
Maybe it's
we're
low and
off the
slow.
rails.
Slow and low, low and slow.
Anyway,
so I also
hold on. Hank's asking, you have anything in the Fireball at the gas station range? What are you talking about, man? It's not even English. Are you talking about, is there a Fireball equivalent at the gas station?
Yeah, it's called, I think it's called like.
No, we talked about this. If you go back and watch our SHOT Show, you'll see when you go to the SHOT Show. You got to go back to one of our first shows.
Catch a Fire.
we drank some. It was like Peruvian cinnamon whiskey. It was flipping awful,
dude. What was that? Was that the same show that we had the like the apple?
Yeah, it was all that
can or something.
It was disgusting,
dude. You remember the Fruity Pebbles? That was a pretty good shot, wasn't it?
Top Feed, you're swearing off Reds, but he used it to cook. Red Stripe? Is that what are you talking about? Reds or like Marlboro Reds?
No, the Reds.
Red's Apple.
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Oh, so we would do. Oh, I'm just throwing it back here.
Dude, freaking sticky as all hell. Man.
Yeah, sticky. But like Red, there was a minute. There was probably like a good year or two where like Reds was like the drink. That was like when it first came out.
Yeah.
Then if you were like, you had your nose up and you were like a little hoity-toity, you would have Fireball. You'd put a shot of Fireball in the Reds bottle. So you would chug the Reds real quick. Then you would pour a Fireball shot in it.
Fire Apple.
And make a Fire Apple. 3 or 4 of those later, you're like trashed. Yeah. Those were like the beer for a minute. I guess you can't even call it beer.
And ready for a hangover.
Oh, it was hangover central with all the sugar. Hey, so what's your total score? We like all over the place here.
So obviously the blown away bonus.
100%. Oh yeah, it gets a blown away bonus. So I gave it a 90.
So you get a 90. I give it a 95 then.
Wow, yeah. Love that. I love that score.
Have we ever had like any 100%?
We have not had 100 ever. None of us
actually meant. I mean, this is the closest. We're gonna get to that.
This is in the top 5.
Yeah.
I
am a Stagg Junior fan.
100%. I would like. I highly recommend it to anyone, even after the fact. If you've made it this far into the review and you watched the whole thing, I commend you first of all, and thank you first of all for supporting us. I would say if you've gotten to this point and you can find it, get it. I mean, it's a no-brainer.
Oh, right? If you can find it in the store, hell yeah, dude. Yeah, I'll buy it.
I think that kind of wraps up the show. This is usually where BJ chimes in and tells us what we have going on for the next couple of shows. So I will let you guys know. I'm going to kind of put it together in my head here. So we're approaching October.
Oktoberfest, yeah.
Jeez, Oktoberfest.
That is for beer, not for whiskey.
Yeah, I think we're at the tail end.
Not for whiskey, for beer.
Yeah, so we had some Oktoberfest beers. If you want to listen into our review, check out our previous show.
Hofbrauhaus. Dunkel.
We missed you too, Top Feed. All you guys that came out of the woodwork tonight, we thank you. Safi, Top Feed, Uncle P, Hank, all you guys, thanks for showing up tonight. We appreciate you all.
Hey, I got a question for you.
Yeah, what do you got? And obviously, Uncle P, and anyone else that joins and doesn't talk.
Has no one
Jackie Black, thanks, bud.
Has no one ever came back? That person, you remember no one I was like, that was an interesting screen.
So no one I haven't seen him in a while, and we've talked about this, and who we dearly miss is Redbeard.
Redbeard,
because he left on such a weird, like one of the shows. He was like, hey, because he just had his baby, him and Johnny.
Yep.
He had the baby. We know he's from Wisconsin. Johnny was birthed. He was talking about Johnny for a couple of weeks, and then one show, he's like, hey, guys, we have a tornado coming in.
Oh, shit.
We have like a tornado warning, and I'll see you when I see you. And he never came back. And we got so worried about him. And so,
Well, I remember we traded a couple of whiskeys back and forth.
well, and he sent us bottles.
The Glenallachie, I remember that.
Yeah, and he sent us some amazing packages of bottles. And BJ reached out to him, and unfortunately I think he had some health issues where he had to stop drinking.
Ah, shoot.
So I'm sure you guys know how it is. When you stop drinking, I get it. He disconnected himself from the whole community. But Redbeard, we're always going to be here, bud. So if you do watch this after the fact, we do miss you, and we hope that we'll see you on the show. Maybe if you pick back up the torch,
come back
start
up
drinking,
exactly,
or even whatever. Even if you're drinking an O'Doul's, pop in and just say hi. So
yeah,
we're all about that. And I think that kind of wraps up the show. So what we have going on in October. So we definitely owe you guys a wine show. We talked about a wine show. We have some special guests that we wanted to get. We have a Somm friend or some kind of associate that wants to get on the show. She wants to talk wine. We have the Halloween show where BJ was talking about some type of mulled cider, or like a
mulled wine,
like a mulled wine, like a cider. We might do a cider.
Mulled wine is quite a bit different the first time we have it, because it is like, I don't know, it's different when you first have it. It's kind of like drinking. It's almost like drinking Jägermeister.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
The first time you're like, okay, so cinnamon spiced warm wine. This makes no sense at all. But then, you have a glass or two and you're like, it's damn good.
Right. And then Safi, we love you for that. So she actually gave up drinking, but she still can't quit the Barrel Buddies.
There you go.
Love that. Love that. And then Top Feed said he saw Redbeard on he was over at the Lions at the Greg Manarino show. He said he saw him recently.
Hell yeah.
Well, hey man, if you do see him again and you're hanging out on the GM show, shoot him, add him, right? Be like, hey, Redbeard, the Barrel Buddies said hi. Check out show 143.
Send him over.
They talked about you on the Stagg Junior show. Like,
we hope little
Johnny. I hope Johnny's doing good.
good.
Yeah, like Redbeard was like the man for a while there. He really was supporting us.
Dude, the Glenallachie. I remember, like, I was
seriously.
like, what is that?
Yeah.
And then that got sent. And that's something that I actually actively seek out right now.
Right. And that goes back to why, Burn in Hell secondary flippers. I'm all about the Redbeard, like that story is just makes my heart feel full and happy that like that's what the community is about. He just sent us bottles blindly, like just some randos on the internet. Like, I have so much respect for that and appreciate him for doing that. And I would do that for any of you guys, and I'm sure most of you would do that for us. So it's like, that's what we're all about here. And I think that's what the community should be about, is sharing is caring. I know it's all cliche, but at the end of the day, these bottles aren't going to drink themselves. And you say you're saving it for a special moment. Don't leave these bottles on the shelf. Start opening them.
Once they get dusty,
you're going to remember the moments that you shared the bottles more than you're going to remember that bottle when you're towards the end there. That's all I want to say. So
true.
We'll take care of that, Safi. So for the Barrel Buddies, I think that kind of wraps us up. We've had Zach. We are at one of our longest shows. We were at an hour and 18 minutes.
Wow,
and it just flew by.
Dude, it feels like we've just been hanging out, and
maybe 30 minutes is what it felt like.
Yeah.
I was like, maybe 30 minutes.
Exactly. We find interesting topics. We talk, we rant, we do the thing.
Whatever. Anyways, it's great to have you back, Zach. It's really good to have you as a guest star tonight. And for the Barrel Buddies, I'm James.
I'm Zach.
And I was going to say, but we can't say that because he's not here.
Live well, drink well.
He brought it back. He brought it back. Fellow Barrel Buddies, we love you all. We will see you next week. Have a great night.
Like that.
Like that. You do like that?
Like that.
What's
like the Michael?
That?
That's not the Michael.
Oh, that's
Jackson.
like the Michael Jackson. Beat it.
No, this is like the Heisman. Or maybe it's
for Mr. Heisman himself. I thought it was more like the Al Bundy, right?
Right. Yeah.
All he talks about is that one high school touchdown that he scored his senior year.
3 touchdowns in one game.
Sorry, 4 Polk High.
Polk High.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow. Put
There
me
we
on
go.
trivia. Polk High. For the Barrel Buddies. I'm
Zach.
James.
I'm Zach.
And he's Zach.
Have a good
great
night.
Have a good night.